So the Cold War Alpha is here for PlayStation users. Unfortunate for Xbox and PC, but it already went live. The servers are up and people have had a chance to play. So we're just going to talk about my general thoughts, and hopefully you guys will be commenting your questions down below, particularly people that aren't going to have a chance to play the game. If you have a PlayStation 4, recommend downloading that, jumping on, play a little bit and see kind of how it feels, because it definitely feels dramatically different than Modern Warfare. That's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just different because different developers make things differently. If you do enjoy the video, learn something new, please do me a favor, hit that like button. If you're brand new, looking to find your way back for more Call of Duty content, make sure you are subscribed with notifications on. So the maps, I think the maps were pretty good. I think one of the issues with the maps, especially with Miami, is it's a little bit dim in certain areas, so it's kind of hard to track people. I felt like it was a little too easy to camp in certain areas, or people that would just gravitate towards certain camping areas, especially in Miami. Basically the middle room that's on the main building, not the one that's kind of out by itself, that is just almost guaranteed someone's going to be in that window, which was kind of a little bit odd that they kind of forced gameplay into that specific area. I felt like the satellite map felt pretty good. I feel like there's too much sand that's accessible by players. They need to kind of close that off, or you know, allow for more dynamic movement on that side of the map, because it's just pretty much the sand dunes and you kind of just go and sneak around and you're kind of nowhere near an objective, which I wasn't really a fan of. They need to kind of either bring in that border or maybe add some terrain to that section, so it's actually a playable area instead of just running around and people just camping up with the sniper rifle nowhere near an objective. It's kind of like playing ground war in Modern Warfare. It's just people are allowed to sit in the back. They're going to sit in the back. So I wasn't really a fan of that portion of the map, but overall I liked how it played in domination. TDM and kill confirmed play a little bit slow in this game. I went to time limit most of the time, and I don't know if that's just people learning the maps or people used to playing it like Modern Warfare, where you kind of got to hold a lane and just camp until you die, and then repeat until the match is over. Because I played 5 minutes into a match of kill confirmed, and it was the score was like 12 versus 12 on the tag count, which for me, for how fast this game could play, it was playing way too slow. Other things when it comes to the map, I felt like there is an advantage on one side of the map over the other, which I think they could balance out, particularly when you spawn and both people run towards B. One side gets there first and has better head glitches, which puts them significantly ahead as an advantage. Even if you know where the person is, the head glitches in this game are pretty solid. They really come up to like your chin, whereas in a lot of previous Call of Duties, they're really coming up to the waist, so you have a little bit larger area to hit. So it does require a little bit more skill, but that also means people are shooting out of their faces, which isn't very practicable. So head glitches are very powerful in this game, especially since you don't really have things that you can shoot through. A lot of the stuff, there's not a ton of penetrable surfaces. I know I was able to wallbang certain things, but that was usually with the rifles and LMGs that I had an opportunity to try. So map design, it's significantly better than what we've had in Modern Warfare. Not as many safe spaces, because pretty much on every map there's like 3 or 4 solid camping spots in Modern Warfare where you can lock down and it's almost impossible to get you, versus this one, 1 or 2. So they've cut that in half. There's no doors. The overall flow of the maps, it's a little bit odd because the way the spawns work, they're very wonky. They flip pretty quickly, even if your team hasn't even pushed where they need to be to make it flip. So I think that's all going to get fine-tuned, and they're going to figure that part out. The weapons and the gunsmith. One thing I didn't really like is that when I wanted to use the wild card that allows you to equip 8 attachments, is basically forcing you to have an attachment in every slot, which unfortunately, if I'm going to run an SMG, I want to run an iron sight SMG, which means I'm not going to put on an optic. So in reality, out of that perk, I'm only getting 7 attachments, not 8. So I think there's things that they can maybe do to add another spot, so that you could actually take advantage of having all 8 attachments versus running an optic on an SMG, which you're primarily going to use for close quarters. So that was one flaw I saw with that. But overall, I like the system that you could basically run an attachment on every spot. It's very intuitive what attachments are doing what, because it has the pluses and minuses with percents. So I like that part of it. I like the gunsmith updated. They're looking good. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, because we're very limited on weapons. Like 3 rifles, 3 SMGs, 2 assault, 2 LMGs, 2 snipers, a couple pistols. Very limited selection of weapons. Probably like a quarter of what we'll actually have at launch, since it'll probably be closer to 35, 40 weapons. Very similar to Modern Warfare, at least that's my thought process. and then we'll get access to actual attachments. Obviously, this being an alpha, you're not really getting a full experience of the game. It's more to kind of like play test the game, find bugs, run into several issues, so that the devs could start working on that stuff. That allows them to balance the game so that when it gets to more of a wide open audience, you're going to see improvements in graphics, weapon balance, overall connectivity. They get to test the servers early, even though there was connectivity issues at the start. It got significantly better, even though the matchmaking in the party up system is kind of wonky still right now. But that's kind of normal Treyarch games. Their matchmaking has always been fairly poor. The new streak system, I didn't have a problem with it. I felt like it was fairly balanced as far as how quick you can get the streaks. It didn't feel like people were just spamming anything. I felt like the UAV is priced a little too high. I only say that because I'd go on like an 8 streak. I'd get my UAV. And then nobody on my team was getting a UAV for quite a while. In some of these matches, it's like, what the heck? A UAV shouldn't be that hard to earn. So I think they're going to, you know, scale some of those back. I don't think an RCXD should cost what it does because it's really weak, especially if somebody's running Flak Jacket. It basically, they could just eat it and it's not going to do anything to them, which basically makes it a waste of a score streak. And then the higher end streaks, they definitely took a while to get, and you're probably only going to get those like the highest end ones once or none times a match, unless you're just going off. In the rare occasion where you're just frying and you're doing perfectly, you know, amazing, the best lobby you've ever had, you're doing great keeping your streak, you could probably get the highest end streak maybe twice, but it would be pretty difficult unless you were just playing very well and going on considerably long streaks. And to tack on that, they obviously have that 90-second timer between calling in streaks. So once I call in a UAV, the wait 90 seconds and I start earning score again towards it, I didn't really feel like, man, I'm not really getting UAVs in between, because every so often I was going on a streak again, but usually there was enough time that had passed where I could automatically start working towards that UAV again. Especially if, like, let's say you're going on a 9 streak, the UAV resets, you get that 10th kill, that's going to give you 1,000 score, which basically gives you a UAV off that 1 kill. So the system works pretty good. How quick the multiplication works there. Let's talk about movement. I felt like the slide is super strong. Like, literally you slide super far, probably like triple the distance that we're used to in Modern Warfare. So it's definitely unrealistic, but maybe something similar to that we've seen in BO4, where you had a pretty decent slide that wasn't realistic in any way. And that's fine to me. I don't think the movement has to be realistic. This is an arcade first-person shooter, and it should just be a little bit dynamic, fun. I feel like there's not really much use in jump shotting. Even though jump shotting is probably the main go-to, you're either going to slide or jump shot, because drop shotting is not a thing. I've never been really a fan of drop shotting. I think you expose yourself when you have a high headshot multiplier. Somebody drop shots, you're basically going to win the gunfight, especially if you react quick enough. If you're unaware, then maybe they get you, they catch you off guard. But generally, if somebody's drop shotting, they're going to lose gunfights most often. In this game, almost 100% you're losing the gunfight, because you got to put your hands to the side, place yourself down, 10-second animation. You're already dead. Yeah. TTK felt good. I felt like it was a perfect balance where you still feel like you're melting when you hit those shots, especially if you get some headshots in there. But it wasn't as melty as Modern Warfare, where literally every gun feels like it's hardcore. And it definitely didn't feel slow like BO4, where somebody you can hit multiple shots, then work around a corner, stim, and come back out. It's just automatic healing, which the pace on the healing was okay. And overall, I would say that for the first hour and a half of the game, I was pretty much enjoying every match I had. I played different modes, different weapons. I was experimenting. I was having fun with the pistols, the DMRs, pretty much a little bit of everything. And it was fairly fun. Then somewhere around about 90-minute mark, they started ramping up skill-based matchmaking. After that 90 minutes, pretty much every match felt like I was in a wager match. And I was watching a lot of different streams. There was pro players playing in full stacks of 4 or 5 players. And they're going, damn, this feels like a scrim against other pros. That's how strong the skill-based matchmaking feels. So I don't know if there's a lobby-based matchmaking where it matches you based off your party type. We'll see how this works out, and maybe that this is their way of tuning skill-based matchmaking, because we already know what's going to be in the game. It's pretty much going to be in any multiplayer game going forward. It's just a matter about how they tune that. So if it's extreme, or, you know, maybe it's a little bit weaker where it's just not quite as strong, because maybe they'll have a ranked playlist. So that's my general thoughts. I think they still got a long way to go. They're talking about, you know, certain things they already know they're going to change, but they're leaving them a certain way just to see how the balance works with a large number of players to gather all the data. They were talking about snipers. They're going to tweak those probably because they already know they kind of made them overpowered. Just kind of detect, you know, how well they do in most scenarios. And they're going to make adjustments based off that. So I'm definitely liking the alpha so far. I'm looking forward to what they change and what is added in the beta next month. And then obviously for the eventual release in November. If you did enjoy the video, learn something new, please do me a favor, hit that like button. If you're brand new, looking to find your way back for more Call of Duty content, make sure you are subscribed with notifications on. Appreciate all the support. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.